So, Core Keeper. A sandbox game likened to Terraria, Minecraft, maybe more, I don't know. A game that I hold dearly in my heart. I played this game when it was in early access, back when a ton of endgame content wasn't implemented yet. And when I heard that the 1.0 release was soon arriving, I knew I had to jump back into the game, so jump back I did. We'll be completing Core Keeper in its entirety. That means completing all 46 achievements, which involves killing all 17 bosses, mandatory and optional, getting all 11 skill trees to level 100, plus a few miscellaneous achievements to round it all off. Okay, let's go. Brand new world. New world. Just in time for the 1.0 update. New character. Let's see. Explorer. Miner. Miner is probably the most important one. Let's go with Miner. Okay. The story to Core Keeper isn't exactly surprising, but I think my past self manages to summarize it quite well. And get Isekai. Ooh. Welcome to Core Keeper. You will have to mine, craft, and fight in order to survive and return to where you came. Like I mentioned, this isn't my first time playing this game, so I already have some knowledge on the game's progression. But I soon came to realize that I am playing a very different game from my memories. Okay, that rumbling, I wouldn't say it's a good sign. It means the first boss should be nearby. Waypoint. Yep, you hear that? The slime boss should be nearby. Yes, that thumping is an indication of the very first boss in the game, Glurch the Abominous Mass. At this point, we are in no position to fight him, so we have to gear up first. And with the first furnaces fired up and chests placed down, we have the humble beginnings of a base. I need to hold the ground first, right? Just make something quick. Root farm. Ooh, plenty of goodies here. Berry, nice. Okay, I'm getting a ton of new things here. Said new thing is a summoning weapon newly added in the 1.0 update. The Tome of the Dark is going to play a vital role in our very first boss fight soon. With our brand new summoning weapon in hand and Witch Doctor armor set donned, it was time to explore our surroundings even further. Let's grab all that copper. With our newfound copper riches, I quickly crafted a brand new copper workbench, a salvage station, an anvil, and new tools and weapons. Oh, come on. Stable, we're gonna need an anvil. Oh, it's good early game weapon. Shield's good too. Later, a quick exploration of the area surrounding the core soon gave us our very first pet. What's that? Oh. Got first pet. Okay. It's not like I am holding off of talents, but if I could remember how to go to my talent screen. That's right. All this while, every action that I've been doing has been giving experience points towards their respective skill trees. Mining blocks, that's experience towards your mining skill. Just walking around your base, that's experience towards your running skill. And every 5 levels you get gives you a talent point in their respective skill tree, which gives a boost to your player character. Don't worry, my stupid past self finds out how to spend them later on. Ah, there we go, that's my talents. Oh. Okay, that's new. Now what you see here is a scene. Core Keeper has several uniquely generated set pieces called scenes that spawn in the world naturally. These scenes come in all shapes and sizes and can come with unique loot in them. However, I won't be figuring how to open this one until much later. While I've been exploring, I was facing constant hunger issues. The more you run around, the more food you consume. So to remedy this, I crafted a cooking pot and got cooking. While the pot is busy cooking, I made my way up to the abandoned farm we found and got started on a small farm. Food is critical as a source of health in the early game, and we will always have food issues, so it's good to get started on these early. And as a small bonus, I also got an inventory upgrade. Oh, awesome. Now, anything else I want to make? Oh, rubber boots were really good. And very good they are. Glitch is a slime boss, which means it leaves ground slime whenever it attacks, which slows you down by 50%. So being able to negate that is massive. From here on out, it's all preparation for Glitch. I craft an egg incubator to hatch my egg. And egg. There's no power. It's not powered. Let's go. I kept farming to keep our food supplies up. And with a full set of gear, it was time to defeat our first boss, Glitch. Oh, let's go! Clutch, baby! And with that clutch comes our first achievement. The first 3 bosses in the game all drop key items. Key items that once slotted into their respective shrines, powers up the core and gives you unique crafting recipes. Okay, I think next step should be pretty obvious. Gonna go for tin. And on the hunt for tin we go. Progression for the early game of Core Keeper is fairly straightforward. In the starter regions, there are 3 major biomes, each with their unique ore spawns and enemies. We start in the dirt biome where we find copper. Next is the clay caves where tin is found. And lastly, we have the Forgotten Ruins where you can find iron. But adventuring is not without its dangers. Man, summons are really convenient. What's that? can't hit it. What the hell is that? Seriously, what the hell is that? Why can't I kill it? Okay, you know what? I'm out. What is that? After a not so long journey, we finally arrive at the clay caves. Then I died. Oh shit! It's fine. After my brush with death, I decided to go a completely different direction to find a source of tin. Here, I found the very first component of one of the longest crafting chains and an achievement, Oracle cards. There are 9 of them to collect, and when combined, create a powerful accessory. Keep your eyes out for these as we'll be hunting for them later. In Core Keeper, there's a ton of mining, crafting, exploring, cooking, gardening, and then rinse and repeat. This will be the core gameplay loop for basically the entire game. And with each crafting tier you reach, you get stronger equipment, means of automation, and methods of travel. But all materials have some form of use up until the very end of the game. There we go. Our first familiar. And with our first pet, we get our second achievement of the run. Movement speed and damage. Huge. I love that. And love him you shall. Pets provide a myriad of bonuses to the player, and as they travel with you, they level up and become stronger as well. There are 11 pets in the game, and they come in a variety of colors too. There's 2 more achievements related to pets, but I'll mention those later when it's more relevant. Ooh, cool. An honor. Ore boulders like the one you see here are an alternative source of ores aside from mining them from blocks. Unlike normal ores, you will require a stationary drilling setup to tap them, but if done right, they can be a fully automated source of bars, but that comes much later. Aha, there we go. There's the World Eater. No, he's not called the World Eater, dumbass. Our second boss is called Norm the Devourer. And as you can soon see, it circles around the core, destroying anything and everything in its path. But in this case, as long as you avoid it, it's a great way to explore and find new areas. That's iron, that's gold. Oh, what's that? That is the Ember Lava, one of 9 consumables that increase your maximum health pool permanently. Eating it will increase the player's maximum health by 50 points once. Unfortunately, our mining damage isn't sufficient to get it, so we'll pin it on the map and move on. With enough tin ores from our journey, we return to base and begin the upgrade into the Tin Age. And with each tier, we unlock new recipes and crafting stations, one of which is the automation table, a key player once we unlock Scarlet Ore. And in the backdrop of a few more chores and minor base expansion, we end our first day in Core Keeper. We begin day 2 with more of the same exploring and crafting. In between our explorations, however, we do find some interesting structures that we raid clean. As you might have noticed, whenever we come across a point of interest, or an ore boulder, I always mark them on the map. It's really easy to lose something once you find it, so it's good to keep everything well marked. Make full use of your map markers. Now having gathered a healthy amount of tin, I decided to brave the Forgotten Ruins to get iron. Getting the iron crafting tier will give us a better advantage against Gorm. But I eventually got cocky and there's my second death. On my way to recover my items, I stumbled across this golden crop shrine. Unfortunately, it does not unlock the Farmer Midas achievement. You have to harvest a golden crop that you plant. After some more exploring, I discovered this chest with the Rift Lens accessory. This accessory is so good. It teleports you a short distance away once you activate it. It's useful for terrain traversal, it's good for boss fights. I basically used this accessory until the end of the game. Once I had sufficient iron, I made my way back to the base and got smelting. While waiting for my iron bars to smelt, I shifted some crafting stations around and dabbled in some new ones. Once I was done messing about, I went off on another exploration run. Upon my return, I had enough iron bars to make the move into the next crafting tier. A new anvil, new furnaces, and gear later, it was finally time to face our second boss, Gorm. Another boss defeated, another achievement off the list. And upon our return to the core, another shrine powered up, and one more boss left to defeat. Now comes the part of the game which can be a bit more tedious. The first two bosses were easy to find. You would have to be blind to miss them, but our third boss is not so obvious. Malugas the Corrupted is located at the center of a maze within the Forgotten Ruins. You can't find the maze, you can't find the boss. I got very lucky here and found the maze quite early on. However, if you aren't having much luck, the Blurred Shrine has a crafting recipe for boss scanners. This eliminates the guesswork and you can head straight to the boss. Returning to the maze after a quick break and armor change back at the base, I activated the waypoint and began fighting my way into the center. Finally, it was time to fight Malugas, and I died. So I decided to prepare a little bit more, starting with clearing the arena to give myself more space to move around. And with everything now cleared and a pocket full of supplies, it was time for a rematch. Another achievement towards 100%. Now with all 3 shrines activated, the core is active once again and will provide us hints towards the next step of progression and of the overall story. Now, I would lay a hand on the Great Wall if I could, but I can't. You see, when I was playing this, Core Keeper was having a free weekend where everyone could experience the 1.0 content up until the first 3 bosses were defeated. So here I was, gated from any further progress until 1.0 officially launched in a few days. So, what was the guy to do? Rails. Lots and lots of rails. I made so many rail lines in my first playthrough and I love them to death. I'm gonna make more of them here. But there was still one more boss available to defeat before the full release of 1.0, the Hive Mother. Once a mandatory boss, she has been moved into the optional category. I did not have the patience to look for her, so I crafted a scanner and headed straight for her. The Lava Hive is one of the sub-biomes found within the clay caves. It's home to spike traps, acid pools, and tons of lava enemies. Taking your time to clear the ground of both spawning tiles and damaging tiles will make your journey a lot smoother and safer in the event of a sudden retreat. With the defeat of the Hive Mother, I was pretty much fresh out of things to do until 1.0 released, so I decided to end off the stream by doing a bit of base decorating. Spoilers, is not very good. I end up trashing all of it eventually. It took a while, but I eventually got to a point where I was satisfied with the final product. The central area is a step in the right direction and will remain almost exactly as I built it until the end of our playthrough. And finally, the promised day arrived and 1.0 officially dropped. After messing about the base, I took our rail line all the way down to the Great Wall and took it down. There we go. Now, unfortunately, this is the wrong way to go. Our next area should be Azeos' Wilderness. That's where we'll find our next tier of ores and our next boss. In case you were ever confused on where next to go, the core provides hints on where the biome and next boss is. So off I went into the wilderness, getting as much scarlet ore as I could without risking my life too much. Once I had enough, I returned to the base to craft a scarlet workbench and a scarlet pickaxe. I don't think I have enough for pickaxe. I did have enough, don't worry. Scarlet pickaxe. Now with new pickaxe in hand, I return to the wilderness for even more ore. Now here's where things get exciting. Remember how I mentioned there are set pieces called scenes in Core Keeper? This maze is one of them, and it contains a unique item, the clear gemstone. This plays a part in one of our achievements later on. Unique crafting component. Oh yeah. The rest of the journey was pretty uneventful until I died. Oh! Thank God I kept these in my hotbar. And luckily I did. When you die in Core Keeper, you lose your entire inventory except for the items in your hotbar and what's equipped on you. So make full use of that whenever you are out exploring. Now back at the base, it was time to organize what little loot I brought back, but as luck would have it, I managed to get this drop. Another one of the 9 consumables that permanently increase your health. Unlocking the scarlet chest that I found also netted me a new toy, the scarlet hand drill. I had my fun with it until its durability ran out. I also began crafting the various components needed for our automated ore boulder setup. We'll be making a ton of these in the future. Just enough iron. Boom. With all the components in hand, I get to work tapping our first ore boulder. I recommend 1 scarlet and 1 iron to start with, since those are the only materials you need to craft more drills. It lives! I spent the rest of the stream exploring, trying to find the boss arena for Azeos the Sky Titan. Finding bosses without their boss scanners is a huge task, and with the Titan bosses, you need to pick up specific materials from their respective biomes. In this case, I needed to find 10 ancient feathers, and at this point I was getting very frustrated, but just when I was about to give up... Oh my god. I can't believe it. Just when I'm about to give up, It pulls me right back in, baby. And just like that, our next target has been found. The next stream, I decided to take things a little slower and did prep work for Azeos. For one, we were still wearing iron armor and were still using iron weapons. So after crafting a scarlet anvil, swapping over to the mercenary armor set, and crafting a scarlet crossbow, it was almost time to face Azeos. But first, I crafted an upgrade station, crafted Azeos' summoning item at the ancient hologram pod, and I tapped an iron ore boulder to keep our resources flowing. With our upgraded gear, I even did a quick survey of our next biome, the Sunken Sea. After that, I spent more time exploring and I finally figured out how to open these musical doors. I cannot read musical notation, so I just cheated for these two. I also managed to get enough mining damage to obtain the Amber Lava, a 50-point health boost. And after automating another Scarlet and our first gold ore boulder, I ended the stream here. The next day, I immediately got to work making the final preparations for our boss fight. First, I filled in the arena and crafted a few potions. Then, it was time to fight. Another achievement off the list. With each Titan boss you defeat, you gain their soul, which gives you a unique combat power. But for Azeos, I disabled it immediately because it can destroy blocks, which is a recipe for disaster in your base. The loot in the chest, however, caught my eye. The broken handle. We'll have a use for that very soon. As I kept exploring, I stumbled across this little scene with a cherry tree. I pick it up later as there's an achievement related to these. We also come across more moat dungeons in our travels. These are a unique sub-biome to the wilderness and contain unique loot. However, the terrain slows you down the longer you stay in there, so I hold off from entering until much later. Eventually, I end up in the Shimmering Frontier, one of two endgame zones in the game. There's no way to get in there at the moment, so I pin it on the map and move on. Now, there are two reasons why I've been doing so much exploring in the wilderness despite defeating Azeos. Number one, I was hunting for the last crafting component to craft the Rune Song, a legendary sword and an achievement we have to get. The last component we need is the chipped blade, and is located in a shrine within the wilderness. Number two, I was locating an optional boss, Ivy the Poisonous Mass. But eventually I gave in and decided to prepare for the Sunken Sea instead. We start off by making a boat workbench and creating our very first boat. The sunken sea, as it very obviously is, a sea. It's impossible to traverse without a boat like the one I just crafted. After I picked myself back together after my untimely death, I returned to the sunken sea to begin tapping the 3 octarine boulders. These will give us tons of octarine ore, which is our next tier of crafting materials. As I was busy figuring out how to set everything up, this showed up. Not sure why I stupidly swung a sword at it thinking I could kill it, but that is one of the bosses we will have to defeat eventually, but that's for later. With the mining setup all done, I continue exploring and end up in a forlorn metropolis, the unique sub-biome of the sunken sea. Here we'll find caveling scholars, claw sentries, and plenty of powerful loot. You know the drill. Time for upgrades. New weapon, the Scholar's Staff. Octarine Bag for even more storage. New Octarine Armor. Now back to it. After a fight for my life, I ended up in one of 3 broken core rooms. These spawn in specific forlorn metropolises a certain distance away from the core. These rooms contain the crafting materials needed to create the Phantom Spark, a legendary bow and the weapon that I end up using for most of the game. After returning back to base and tidying up, I also decided to swap over to the Sorcerer armor set. I was enjoying my newly acquired Scholar Staff, so I decided to commit to a magic build before ending the stream. The next day, it was back to work exploring the sunken sea. There were bosses to be found, more ores to mine, and more unique items to find. After a few trips, I decided to switch it up and returned back to the wilderness. I still hadn't achieved my 2 objectives, so I kept exploring. But soon, I managed to find a hidden shrine containing the chipped blade. I immediately headed back to purchase the rune parchment before finding out I didn't have enough iron. So while waiting for my iron stores to build up, I did a bit more base decorating and exploring. Eventually, I ended up in an alien tech lab, a type of dungeon that spawns only within the Shimmering Frontier. This is several levels ahead of my progression, but I give exploring a shot anyway. Surprisingly, I even managed to survive the challenge arena. After returning home with the loot, I built 2 more houses for 2 new NPCs to move in. Crafted a scanner for Ivy the Poisonous Mess, and prepared for the upcoming boss fight. Upon my return, I also finally crafted the rune song, another achievement for the list. The next stream involved, you guessed it, even more exploring. Omarov was still nowhere to be found, and I still had to search for 2 more components for the Phantom Spark, so off I went. Along the way, I found some cool stuff like this turtleshell statue, this ancient shipwreck, and this titan skeleton. I eventually found another broken core room, but ended up dying again. After picking up the pieces of my corpse, I returned to items closer to the Phantom Spark. I also got sick and tired of searching for Omarov, so I crafted the boss scanner, and off I went. Now, for some odd reason, the waypoint for the boss arena did not spawn. Not sure why this happened, but I dealt with it and carried on. With Omarov's location confirmed, I decided not to fight him first and went to the Desert of Beginnings instead. I'm not trying to sequence break, but I was trying to obtain a Galaxite pickaxe, as with enough mining damage, waypoints can be broken and moved to other locations. And speaking of Galaxite, that is the unique ore to the Desert of Beginnings and our next tier of materials. After returning to base and crafting the summoning item for Omarov, it was time to face the Sea Titan. After my defeat, I came to realize the weakness of my current magic build in an extended fight. The constant need to wait for my mana to recharge simply meant a lower DPS. Now I'm sure there were plenty of ways to better optimize my build for this fight, but I decided to change things up and swap my build. Returning back to the Desert of Beginnings to give myself time to think, I ended up finding this maze, and inside I got a nice prize. The Ra-Akar Automaton is one of 3 key items that give access to a unique armor set found in the desert, the God-Sent King armor set. Further in my travels, I found the Ring of Sand and a Molten Quarry, the unique sub-biome in the desert. Making my way to the center of this molten quarry, I found the ancient forge room, where we'll be crafting our third legendary item, the Soul Seeker. The next stream, I wasted no time getting ready for our rematch with Omarov. The new build I was going for was a favorite of mine back in early access, the Scholar's armor set with the Phantom Spark as my main weapon, a hybrid ranger build. Along the way, our pet also reaches level 10, giving us another achievement. Now, despite having all the components of the Phantom Spark in hand, we can't craft it yet. We have to search for the Glyph Parchment, which is located in a treasury room, which randomly spawns somewhere in the Sunken Sea. More exploring. But not before finding an ancient waypoint, which means another optional boss. Back at the base, I purchased the empty crystal from the cloaked merchant, create the admin key, and head back out to locate the treasury. With all the components gathered, I crafted the Phantom Spark, netting us our 10th achievement. Skipping ahead of progression, I used what little solarite I had gathered throughout my journey to craft a solarite workbench, a solarite anvil, and a solarite pickaxe. After putting on my new armor set, it was time for our rematch. The next day, I start off strong by taking out the boss I found yesterday, Morpha the Aquatic Mass. After Morpha's defeat, I decided it was time to formally enter the desert to search for our next boss, Ra'aka, the Sand Titan. Along the way, I find the Thread of Fate, the crafting item for the Oracle deck, the Titan Temple, where the Godsend King armor set is found, the boss arena, where we will fight Ra'aka, the King Grave, which nets me the Omerov Compass, and finally the Queen Grave, which has the Azael's Feather Fan. The desert's a big hacking place. Once I returned from my journey to the desert, I decided to head up to the Shimmering Frontier, a brand new biome full of crystals, alien technology, and our next tier of all, Solarite. Of course, in between my journeys, I have been keeping up with my resource gathering and general base management like cooking and gardening. After completing my adventure in the Shimmering Frontier, I returned to the Titan Temple in the desert with all 3 keys to claim my prize, a brand new armor set. Now, as prepared as I ever could be, it was boss time. With Raka's defeat, everything past this point was all new territory for me. I had no clue what bosses I would face next. My singular clue was a Hydra altar that I made using Raka's bug brains. Gross. Meanwhile, I also began to make preparations for some of the harder achievements, like the Oracle deck. The Oracle deck is a powerful accessory created by combining 9 Oracle cards with the Thread of Fate I found earlier. Each Oracle card comes from a unique source. Some are dropped from mobs, others from bosses. Some are only found in the world in specific scenes, and others you have to fish for. Right now I have 6, and we are missing these 3. A quick Malugas kill later, we are down to 2. Taking a quick break from progression, I spent the entirety of the next stream giving the base a much needed facelift. In between this stream and the last, I kept working on the base off stream, adding farms and decorating even more. But soon it was time for more boss slaying. After crafting a scanner for both Druidra and the Atlantean worm, I opted for fighting our first Hydra boss. The Hydra bosses and the Atlantean worm are similar to Gorm in the way they move around the map once active. If you place the summoning item too far away from the boss, they won't spawn. The Hydra bosses, much like the Titan bosses, give you a soul once they are defeated for the first time. Their boss souls don't give combat abilities but rather a percentage stat boost. Returning back to base, I decided to do some base decorating before fighting the worm, but then this happened. Liquids in this game work via a priority system. If liquid A has a higher priority value than liquid B, liquid A will override liquid B. Shimmering water has a priority of 5. Normal water has a priority of 1. So I just break the entire base. Needless to say, I was devastated and ended the stream there. Returning back after a day or two, I had for the most part cleaned up the base since the incident, and got started on some new additions to the base. But to vent out my remaining frustrations, I decided to go on a quick boss killing streak. And then I died. Round 2. Now, unfortunately, Igneous the Molten Mass did not drop the item I was looking for, the Cipher Parchment. So I fight him again. With the necessary materials in hand, I return to the Ancient Forge to create our final legendary item, the Soul Seeker. The next stream, considering our significant lack of achievements despite being so close to the end of the game, I decided to start by knocking out a few achievements I was close to obtaining or could complete fast. First on the list, create the Oracle deck. I only had one card remaining which I had to fish out of the desert. Achievement get. Next, fishing in lava to get a Starlight Nautilus, a special consumable that increases your health by 100 points permanently. Now back to bossing. With all 3 Hydras defeated, it was time to take down the final story boss of the game. But before that, I had to gear up. It was time to explore the final area of the game, the Passage, a dark, desolate place. Here we can find the last tier of ore, Pandorium ore. Returning to the passage after smelting all the Pandorium ore I had, I headed to a Rift statue, a special crafting station specifically for Pandorium bars. I created a full set of Pandorium armor and the Stormbringer. More on that later. And so stood in front of us the whole reason why we're here. The one who dragged us from our world into this one. A literal interdimensional being trying to recreate their lost civilization, and we're in their way. I'll save you the trouble of how the fight went. So I got preparing, restocking my potions, making changes to my build, and changing up my food of choice. While I was busy cooking up a storm, I also discovered 100 unique recipes, giving us another achievement. The rest of the fight was a pure battle of attrition, so I'll save you the time. Needless to say, I ended up on top. Don't worry, I'll provide a much cleaner and more abridged fight soon. With the core commander defeated, our character's story comes to an end. but our story still has an ungodly long way to go. To recap, we are currently at 24 out of 46 achievements. There's still one more boss to defeat, and all 11 skill trees to max out. For reference, here are my stats after the Core Commander fight. Tackling one problem at a time, I decided to try my hand at our final boss. Your Golem? Your Skirm? Your Wikipedia, please. So many things went wrong in this fight. Earth Slime circles around the passage in a clockwise direction, instantly killing anything in its path. This means that a wide clear path is needed to properly fight it. Any blocks which stop my movement are very literally fatal. And with the pitiful amount of damage I was doing, I was going to have to do multiple loops of the passage to kill it, which wasn't going to fly. So what were my next steps? Number 1, and this one's pretty obvious, I have to clear a path in the passage for the fight with Earth Slime. This will also level up my mining skill at the same time. Number 2, I have to optimize my build in order to do a reasonable amount of damage. And it just so happens that both of these goals coincide perfectly. To optimize my build, I required 2 accessories, the Ancient Gem Necklace and the Ancient Gem Ring. Their set bonus adds 13% of my mining damage to my melee damage, which is perfect to use in conjunction with the Stormbringer. To get these 2 accessories, I need the Archaeologist skill active, which gives a chance to drop from a pool of items when you break a block. So breaking blocks I went. But before we forget to address it, I also accidentally got to level 100 in gardening while I was preparing between streams. So achievement get. Whoops. Oh, and I also harvested golden crops by this time. Double whoops. With the new build all set up, it was time to farm the Core Commander to get the Core Commander armor set. Another fight later, we now have a full set of Core Commander armor. Now, time for a rematch. With the last boss available in Core Keeper defeated, it was time to tackle the remaining 19 achievements, 10 of which were skill tree related. For reference, these were my skills immediately after the boss fight. Now, it might not seem like a lot left to do, but these skills do take a decent chunk of time to farm enough XP to hit level 100. So let's get the rest of these non-skill tree related achievements out of the way first. I won them all, stored all color variations of one pet type in the chest. I luckily had enough lively eggs to hatch all 8 color variations of the Aulux pet. But if you aren't having much luck, I suggest purchasing the Curious Egg from the Bearded Merchant, since you only have to wait for him to restock to get more. A good life. Just grab a crop, go up to a hungry friend, and let them bite away. In a rush. Just pick armor and accessories that boost your movement speed and cook up some speed boosting foods until you hit 200%. Impersonator Syndrome. Use a magic mirror to customize your character to look like one of the 6 official character designs. A Strange Song. Play the notes XVW, XVW on any instrument. 5 centimeters per second. Plant 10 white or pink cherry trees in your world. If you don't have enough, go to the main menu under Settings. Override your current season to the Cherry Blossom season. Return to your world and look for cherry blossoms which will spawn naturally on the ground. Grab 10 of a particular color and you can create a cherry tree. Rock and Stone. Equip the Ring of Rock and the Ring of Stone. A throne fit for a king. Sit on a caveling toilet while wearing a king slime crown. Gossip Group. Get the lava helm from the Hive Mother and the lava chest from Gorm. Put them on, find a big lava friend, and press E to have a nice chat. Now cue the skill training montage. And that's 100% of Core Keeper completed with all 46 achievements under our belt. If you managed to watch this far, thank you. I never expected myself to make a YouTube channel, let alone make a video of this scale. I'm sure future me can see how long this video is, but it's probably way too long. I'm also very sure that this video leaves plenty to be desired. I can think of a few already, but if you have any feedback or criticisms, just let me know in the comments. And who knows, maybe I will see all of you again one day in another video. Maybe. Here's hoping I just don't become a one-hit wonder. Bye bye.